We got quite a nice application going here, at least for the basics into which we're diving. Now I want to dig deeper into some of the core JavaScript features you gotta know because you will need them in many of the projects or the applications you're going to create with JavaScript. And one important feature, if you want to call it like this, is a special set of operators, which you can also use in your JavaScript code. Now, we already saw the assign operator, the plus, the minus, the multiplication, and the division operator. We used those. Now, there are a couple of shortcut operators, if you want to call them like that. For example, here, what we're doing, and not just for adding, but also for subtracting and so on, what we're doing is always we're assigning a new value to current result, and that new value is based on the current or the old value of current result, plus or minus and so on, a number. Now, if you have a calculation like this, which is quite common, there is a shortcut. You can absolutely write it like this, but if you assign the result to the same variable you're using on the right side of the equal sign, you can omit that variable there on the right side, omit the operator, and instead write plus equal. So instead of a single equal sign, use plus equal. And that's exactly the same as having, in this case here, current result equal to current result plus. So you can remove that from the right side and add a plus here. And as you will see, if I now save this and I reload this, if I enter a 5 here and I click plus, that still works as before. So that did not change, that still works, but now we have a shorter code snippet here. We have less code which we have to write. Now, the same is available for all the other operators. So instead of this code here with the minus, we can also write minus equal, and the same for the multiplication and division. So we can take this, multiply this here, and also remove that division code here and use this shortcut. And with that, if we save that, you'll see that now as I reload this, we can add, we can subtract, we can multiply, and we can also divide. This all works now with this shorter code thanks to these shortcuts. Now there also are other shortcuts or other shorthand operators, as they're also sometimes called. If you have, let's say, the case that you want to set a new value to a variable, let's say to current result, and that is the current value plus 1. So exactly plus 1, which we of course don't need here, but imagine we had that case. Then instead of writing this, you can also write current result plus plus. The same is available for minus. You can write current result minus minus. It's not available for multiplication or division because what would that be? Multiply the number with 1? Well, that's the same number, and the same for division, right? But adding 1 or subtracting 1, that makes sense. And with this increment or decrement operator, as it's called, that is possible in a very short way. So if we do that here, and I comment out this line for the moment, this, by the way, is a common pattern that you use comments to temporarily remove some code, which you then can re-add later. But since comments are ignored, you can kind of temporarily remove code by commenting it out, as it's called. So if we do that, and we therefore only reduce current result by 1, if we click add, you will see that now if I don't enter anything here because I'm not using the value anyways right now, if I add a plus, you have a result of minus 1. We can ignore this NaN thing for now. Here, the result is the thing that matters. So this gets lower and lower, always by 1, each time I click the plus button, because we're decrementing this here. A little side note, you could also write minus minus or plus plus in front of the variable, and it will actually have a small impact or a small difference. Not if you just use it like this to change the value, but if you're interested in the return type of this operation, if you add plus plus in front of this, it will actually edit the current result by adding 1, just as it does if you add it thereafter. If you have plus plus or minus minus in front of this variable, then this operation returns the edited value. If you have it after the variable, well then this returns the value of the variable before it was changed. Now here we're not using the return value, but if we would alert that return value, it still changes current result always in the same way by adding 1, but this operation returns a new value which you can or cannot use, depending on whether you want to use it. So here, for example, I'm using it by outputting it with the alert, and if we do that, and I reload here, you see I get 1 here, so I get the result after the change. If I add the pluses at the end here, and I repeat here, save this and reload, then I get it before the change. So this plus plus and minus minus operator returns something. It returns the value before or after the change, depending on where you add the pluses and minuses. Again, in many cases that doesn't matter because the variable itself is always edited in the same way. It just makes a difference regarding the value which is returned. Now, of course, here I'm not interested in incrementing this, so I'll just remove that line and comment this back in. By the way, in case you're wondering how I did this so quickly, I used a shortcut here in my IDE. Under Edit, you can use toggle line comment to, well, add or remove a comment to quickly comment code in or out. So these are some additional operators which I recommend that you keep in mind, and that therefore completes our list of operators which we are aware of for now with these shorthand operators and the increment and decrement operator.